The Butterfly and the Sun Thief. At the crossroads of hope and despair was a tiny cocoon. Inside of the cocoon was a butterfly, tucked away, nestled safely in a dream. This dream, however, would be different than all the others, as this dream will be the last before the butterfly wakes and leaves this place forever. Inside the dream lived a boy whose heart was full of sorrow from guilt he had not yet earned, already burning in his veins. The world around him taught him silence was safety. His presence wasn't necessary, so he folded his voice into tiny paper crows and put them away in a box, locked deep inside of himself. Forever unheard. Until one day the sky split, and a single song fell through the veil. Fly from the inside. Fire answered fire inside his ribcage. The boy made a vow so fierce the dark itself took note. I swear one day I will steal the sun. He carved the vow into flesh, branded for all to see. A sigil inked like a monk's secret psalm, a beacon into the vast unknown that it's not just decoration. As the dream drifts on, the butterfly fights to stay asleep, for its heart aches for the boy. So lost. So alone. The butterfly sees the boy, but he seems different now. A few years older, but his face is still the same. The young man's scars now covered by the sands of the desert, where sands taste of gunpowder. And the toll of war hollows out the light within the young man's eyes. Shame and regret stained into his soul. The young man's voice couldn't bear to sing the words, but held on to the lyrics until they became his rosary, until the words were the only God who still answered back. Unable to understand why anything at all, the man shouted into the sky, "They never warned. They never cared. I wished you'd understand I'm already dead. What would you be? What would you have done? How would you love?" The young man returned home in a shell labeled fragile, shattered so thoroughly in the eyes of a world that had never knew his name. His nights grew fangs. His memories eroded away at his soul. Needles pierced the heart of the young man, suffocating inside of the world's unforgiving darkness. Lost inside the labyrinth, the rope begins to look like mercy wearing a smile. Until one ash-colored afternoon, when all hope had been forgotten, when the crow of ending circled closest. From out of nowhere appeared a stranger, half angel, half ghost. With no rhyme or reason placed a small piece of paper no bigger than a confession, attached with small key into the young man's trembling hand. And as he unfolded the paper, he read the words, "Bring only what you need to survive." The young man looked up suddenly for the stranger who was just beside him, but the young man realized he was alone. So with the last drop of courage he could find, the young man closed his eyes and with fearful worry, he swallowed the key. Once through the doorway, he dropped into an abyss, thrown head first inside of an earthquake, tossed into the deep end, in a space that he had never been but felt like home. A voice resonated inside the young man that spoke only to him. "Bring what's yours. I'll take what's mine and meet you on the other side. We'll leave a sign so anyone can find us. A better place, a sweeter time, we won't need any wings to fly. A place beyond the sun." Walls melted away, time stood still. The ceiling became sky, as a presence emerged with a familiar flame, embraced the fragile broken soul, and filled his chest with breath of forgiveness, a breath so powerful that it tore the old tenant out, root, rot, and all, from his soul and replaced the wound with hands woven of raw, forgiving light. His eyes wept oceans. The oceans turned to laughter, the kind that pardons galaxies. As the last laugh fades, and the tears fall away, the man is left holding pieces of a mirror. And all that was left in the mirror was a reflection of the man he had been afraid to become his whole life. A collision of a moment that could never have been denied. Woven into the fabric of existence. A moment that echoes eternities inside him, a sting that remains to this very day. Even though dawn still lays the weight of the world across his shoulders, the man remains strong. Some mornings the crow returns, black wings blotting memory and sky, but inside the man's chest lives the sun he stole as a child, burning bright with the first promise he truly ever kept. "Where you been? Where you from? Don't you know me? I am the one that got to steal the sun." His soul never died. It only remembered it could fly.